in India, although the Britishers themselves have changed from this pattern of education, but India is stuck into this pattern. It's going to transform the future of the education itself, acquiring based on the requirements, intelligence, knowledge level of each and every kid.
Hello there. Welcome to Podcast with Pooja. Every week you meet a thought leader where we discuss about the opportunity and challenges facing in the education industry in the 21st century. This week on this podcast, we have someone who is the thought leader in the field of education. Welcoming none other than Mr. R.L. Narayanan, who is the Vice Chairman, Center for Innovation in Education and Empowerment. Mr. Narayanan, it's such a pleasure to have you on this channel with me. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Amit, for having me.
Thank you. I'm going to take a question about something which is very close to the heart of head of schools as well as students. And since we are in talks with the Vice Chairman of Center for Innovation, my first question will revolve around the topic innovation. So, Mr. Narayanan, a culture of innovation encourages students to take risks as well as try out new things. They are also being able to be entrepreneurial in nature and think out of the box. So can you share your thoughts on what education institutions can do to create this culture of innovation and give the freedom to students to do something which actually takes them out of their comfort zone?
It's very, very interesting question. See, if you look at the culture of innovation, I have to go back to the past. See, for 300 years we have been ruled by British, and unfortunately the Machiavelli system of education has found a strong footing in India. Although the Britishers themselves have changed from this pattern of education, but India is stuck into this pattern. I would say this is kind of a Henry Ford's model of factory. The factory model of putting 50 students or 60 students in a classroom and teaching them. And in this kind of setting, the innovation culture has been absent. To be precise, because I have first-hand experience of running these schools myself, the K-12 with close to 5,000, 6,000 children, and 500, 600 staff reporting to me. And I've also been ambassador from India to Germany on education. So if you look at the education system in India for the last 300 years, I would say that the innovation has been lacking. If you look into even software industry, the kind of innovation, we are excellent, we are leading in the services space. That's why we are able to come out of the global CEOs, the managers, leaders. But the innovators are unfortunately, I would say, they've been outliers for the population of India. If you look at a massive population of our size, 1.4 billion people, the innovation class has been outliers. It's been very numbered because of the factory model of education we have developed. But on the positive side, I would say that currently, after the AI of the machine learning, the last decade or so, we have been coming out of that setting. The innovation systems are starting to happen in schools. But I would say that the system of innovation to develop, the first thing we need to ask is to ask questions.
Yes.
We unfortunately in India, except for a few leading schools, we still the question culture is greatly missing. We need to develop systematically that kind of approach in our schools. Otherwise, we will be lacking behind in innovation.
Okay, thank you for that lovely answer. So yes, as rightly put by Mr. Narayanan, innovation, yes, somewhere in the past, if you see that innovation factor was lacking somewhere. But yes, with the advancement of AI technology in the education sector now, we can see that innovation is getting a boost. And since we are speaking about AI, my next question is tapping the AI segment. Okay, so considering the AI role, Mr. Narayanan, today AI's role in education is actually revolutionizing the way we learn, right from student engagement to the way teachers teach in their classrooms. And of course, AI, especially in education, might be an early entrant, but if I consider the future, okay, it's going to transform the entire future of learning. And with any technology there comes challenge, and same I would say with AI. Being working in the education segment and working very closely with educators, I have observed one thing, that when it comes to using or integrating AI and technology in the classrooms, that is where educators get panicked. Of course, with the COVID, many of us have jumped and we have just adopted the technology. So considering both positives and challenges that we have in AI as an industry, so what would you suggest, what role AI in education play in the future, and according to you, how it's going to affect the future learning as well?
See, again, you put out a set of interesting questions. I would like to go to the past if to answer this question. Because again, as I said, that I have first-hand experience of implementing AI way back into 2014 in the school settings, coding, the skills of the future. On the positive side, I would say that what the schools can do is AI is going to be the future. We are just a tip of the iceberg.
Yes.
We are in a kind of a 100-year revolution which is happening every 100 years. This is that kind of after post-industrial revolution. We have missed other revolutions. Of course, you can't call computing as a revolution, but AI is like an industrial revolution we had in the West. This is a new revolution which is going to completely change. It's going to bring a paradigm shift in everything we see, and education is one part of that. So coming to your question precisely, what AI is going to do for schools and children, especially if you look at that question, what we had in India, why India was contributing close to 20-25% of the world GDP, what kind of science we had in architecture, what kind of strength we had in metallurgy, what kind of strength we had in building a fleet of navy. If you look at all these things, or if you go back to the era of Mahabharata or even Ramayana, what we find is one interesting thing, Pooja. One interesting thing is, I would say that is teachers. We had teachers where they can teach students based on precision requirements of the students. For example, if you take Mahabharata, which is a famous story across India.
Yes.
See, Dronacharya did not teach archery to Duryodhana. He did not teach archery even to Bhim. What Bhim was skilled at, what Duryodhana was skilled at, what Arjuna was skilled at, what Dharmaraja himself was skilled at. So he taught different skills to different set of people.
Absolutely. Yes.
This is what we call precision. And everyone became experts in their own field. So a teacher it's a magic, it's an alchemist, because they were not having that skills to catch the archery. It required tremendous concentration. In fact, I would go one step ahead and say that Dronacharya was such a teacher that he did not even teach the art of this Brahmastra to even his own son Ashwatthama, which he had given to Arjuna, because he was the right student to get that. So this kind of precision teaching is absent the last 300-400 years from the Indian society. This is going to come back in the form of AI. AI, what it is going to be doing to education is going to be magical. I would say that it is going to bring this precision education, a kind of super tutor you would have sitting in front of you. Imagine a super tutor with infinite patience.
Absolutely.
Infinite knowledge. Because you need patience to teach.
Absolutely.
And if you're going to see, we are after all human beings, there's no point in blaming teachers. If you're going to give 70 students in a classroom setting to a teacher and ask them to teach, be patient with 70 students in 40 minutes time, it's going to be, I just pity these people who have been doing in the teaching for the last 50-60 years. It's very, very difficult because I've experienced this personally. I feel for the teachers, and we need to have tremendous gratitude towards them for the patience they have shown.
Absolutely.
It's impossible. Just give 3 kids to you to home to manage your job as a mother is going to be very difficult. Then imagine a kind of teaching people. We need to have that sense of gratitude towards teachers.
Absolutely.
But when you see with that, with the personal precision teaching, it's going to transform the future of the education itself, where we are going to get these precision teachers requiring based on the requirements, intelligence, knowledge level of each and every kid. Because what makes, I'm just taking a little bit more time on this question because it's a very, very important question, Pooja, you have asked is, see, what makes human beings special? If I look at from, because I've done my psychology masters and I've done over 30-year research on philosophy, if I combine these two things and put together, what makes human beings special is their uniqueness.
Yes.
Every individual is unique.
Correct.
They are not same.
Absolutely.
There can be another puja, but another puja at the same time, same birth cannot be same.
Correct. It's
right?
impossible.
It's
Absolutely.
impossible.
Correct.
It's a blessing of nature. So that based on the precision skills of that individual, if we are going to teach them, that's going to bring magical transformation to the society.
Absolutely. Thank you for that wonderful answer. And yes, immense gratitude to the teachers for the strong patience here they have. Of course, I have been a part of a lot of classrooms and I've seen teacher being so patient with kids. But there are sometimes you can sometimes make on their face, but of course they will never show it. Thanks to the education system now that we have. But yes, my point is when it comes to AI, it is certainly not here to replace you. Of course, AI or technology is here to support you. So yes, I completely agree with you, Mr. Narayanan. AI is a way to go. And since we spoke about AI, we spoke about innovation. I strongly believe that when we speak about 21st century skills, innovation too is one of the 21st century skills that student needs. So as an extension to this, I will take my next question. When we talk about education, okay, and today's world require a multi-dimensional and skill-based curriculum in action. Curriculum that focuses more on creativity and collaborative approach. So according to you, what are the 21st century skills that students need today to become the generation of world changers?
See, this is very important question from psychological point of view. But I would like to go back again to this question. If you see what gets into the innovation system, to your first question, coming back to the second question, connecting with this third question, I would say that you need creativity to flower.
Yes.
And creativity is something which will flower automatically. You can plant a seed inside the mother earth. It has to develop as a plant, then it comes into makes into flowers. So you have to allow the magic to happen. So you can't feed it with a curriculum that I feed this with curriculum. And if you look at the greatest societies in the West, which had produced some top individuals in the last 500, 600 years, or 1,000 years, or even 2,000 years, Alexander, the West calls him the great. I would say that it's not so easy. But if you take it and accept it, he had a wonderful teacher in the form of Aristotle.
Yes.
Right. So personal coaching again happening. Again, if you go back to Einstein, if you go back to any of these top innovators, they had their own personal mentors and personal guided teachers. But if you, even again, I say that even if you look at our own history, the greatest king ever to be who have ruled India is Chandragupta Maurya, because they united the entire India,
Absolutely.
entire Magad, from the west to east, north to south, and across India he had these territories, and these were built without much of big large wars. So you look at his teacher Chanakya, again you would find that very personalized and precision coaching happening. Just one individual transforming the entire kingdom.
Absolutely.
If you see that, that's what precision teaching can do for you, and
Right.
that's what AI brings into table. So if you allow the students to flower themselves, these kind of questions the AI throws to them, and it also helps the teaching community, because they can then, it can save immense time in their work, normal work, and put them directly to the creativity, the tools which should require the flowering to happen. The probability of the flowering will be, if you take it was 2%, 3%. Now I would say that is going to improve to 40% to 50%.
Yes.
So you get into a society, especially for a country like India, I would say, where the population is so large. I would say that AI is going to be transformational for the teaching community as well as for the student community. One more subsidiary answer question which comes, and the answer which comes is, by and large, AI is going to replace a large software talent required in this country. And you would find, surprisingly, that those people, highly talented people, going just for mundane work from IIT, and even Narayanan had a worry, and many of the IIT directors have raised the concerns. Recently, Kampuri IIT director of IIT, director Madras IIT, also raised that the people from IIT are going to streams which are not related to engineering at all.
Right.
So this thing is going to change. What I'm saying to you, the AI is going to stop this change, because you will have AI doing all the mundane work, and then the precision skills required for education, precision teachers will develop from this highly talented pool, that many of the talented individuals would like to come back to teaching.
Absolutely. Correct.
As you would find now, what is there is, unfortunately, in private schools, I would say that there many people have seen is, people are coming from teaching community. If there are 100 teachers, 90 of them don't want to be in teaching. because they don't have any other options.
Great, thank you so much for that answer, sir. Yes, it's a combination of innovation, AI, and yes, I mean, we can make out from your answer that AI is the future. It's going to be a game changer not only for student community but also for teacher community. And I've seen teachers actually integrating and adopting AI every now and then in their daily teaching styles. There are so many apps, and I was a part of one of the companies where we have a platform where teachers to come, do exchange programs, learn from each other, and it became a cakewalk for them. So yes, AI is a way to go, and I'm sure it's not here to replace you, as I mentioned, but to support you. And it's equally important for you to be there in the market and learn all these skills so that you are up there in the game. Thank you for that lovely answer. So this brings us to the last question of the day, talking about the students today. Okay, the world needs students, or maybe the school, the way they're preparing their students, they're preparing them for colleges and universities. But there are very few schools that are actually preparing students for the workforce. And that's why I see many corporates having this complaint that we're not getting the right candidate for my company. So what changes do we need to bring as an education institutions so that we prepare students right from they are in the school, not to achieve any degree as such, but to be future ready for the workspace of your career where you want to achieve in life?
Again, Pooja, I'm telling out of your experience, you're putting some wonderful questions. I would say that because you see, questions are important. I see that
Yes.
because again, coming back to AI is going to have all the answers, but
Yes.
questions are very, very important.
Correct.
This is one ability of human beings which AI cannot replace.
Even for AI, you need to have some input that you have to give to AI so that they generate some answer. So
Exactly.
that input has to come from human
So
beings.
you're putting some interesting thoughts and interesting questions. Because it requires tremendous intelligence to come for this set of questions.
Thank you so much.
To coming back to this question, I would say that if you look at things, I would say that yes, of course, but this school has a capability, having the first-hand experience of running these schools. I would say that schools are transformational, it's magical, it works in a way that it builds the human beings, it builds them there, gives them the character which is essential. I would say that one step ahead, the schools of future should prepare their students, the kids, for life.
Okay.
So what I'm telling that the life is holistic. See, you work is only one part of life. Kind of, if you look at the suicide rates coming in the society, for example, IT has large suicide rates. If you look at US, even Harvard University, the MIT, the problem they face, the large institutions, the educational institutions, their suicide rate is very, very high comparing to the other part of the society. So I would say that if you look at this is something, the trend which is so going, and work side adds up to a lot of pressure. Even going forward, the competition from AI, the competition from other people, it's going to be very tough. And we are coming out of one of the toughest years in the industry, IT industry, where close to 300,000, 400,000 top-notch people from top-notch companies have lost their jobs.
Yes.
So in the school, what they can do is a lot of co-curricular. AI cannot replace sports.
Correct.
So
Absolutely.
you need people to play sport. You need,
Yes.
that is what school brings in.
Correct.
You are able to bring that. AI cannot, of course, replace sports. So because you need that kind of environment, a school environment, to play sports and build that character building, only school can happen. So you can have precision teachers in the form of AI. AI can boost your educational talent. AI can make you ready for the workforce. But what it cannot replace is the social skills. Human beings are by nature social animals. So you need that societal skills to come up and flower in life, and how you play the leadership role, how you envisage, how you work together as a society, how you work together and flower in the society in kind of cooperation, collaborations, and of course the little competition which will help the students to flower. And AI will precisely allow, it will find out where you're doing well, what you can do, and can support you. And that's how Indians by nature, because we have been trained for the clerical and managerial work by the British, you'd find surprisingly that the Indian CEOs are doing extremely well. In, if you take Satya Nadella, Sundar Pichai, both of them are pillars of AI. We are talking about AI today, and the Indians are leading the revolution in the West. Because if you take Microsoft at one end and Google at one end, these are the two large companies which are making this AI revolution in this world currently, as we see it. can be later, it can be different, but as we see it, this is the two individuals who are Indians, and the coming out of the best educational institutions India has produced, and the kind of gratitude these people have for the teachers, be it IIT or be it the schools. Currently, Nandan donated close to 300 crores to IIT Bombay. We imagine the kind of gratitude they will have for the teachers. So the teachers, what the role they will play in next 100 years, the teachers cannot be replaced.
Absolutely.
No matter what from the society. But coming back to the question, your question is, students require a kind of skills in the innovation, as you rightly pointing out. So every school should have a kind of a laboratory for innovation, for AI, for coding, because it's a language, extension language going to be for English. So for developing a good AI engineers, you need this innovation labs, you need this AI labs. Fundamentally, they need statistics, they need mathematics, they need calculus, they need statistics, a lot of other tools which should help them and use it for the next generation learning.
Absolutely.
Once this kind of environment is provided, it kind of an overall balance for them to manage the stress level the software industry is going to throw. So if you are able to manage, and what I would say in psychological term is coping skills. You need these coping skills that only school can give you. Otherwise, you will become so separated from the society that will be very difficult for you to mingle. Always, otherwise, also your screen time is increasing tremendously, and AI is going to increase it further. So, how we are going to make it as a social balance is very, very critical. So, I find that the schools will help the individuals flower in the respective roles and assignments. It is going to be blessing for a society like India, where we have billions of students coming out of every year. So I would say that this opportunity is the decade is going to become for India, the century is for India, and we are rightly catching up the AI revolution. And one thing which is facilitating this is our internet penetration. 850 million smartphones. It is easy to learn, and already knowledge is democratized. It's going to be the India century, and AI is just helping. It's at right time, right place.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that answer. So yes, I mean, a very good tip we received from Mr. Narayanan, what schools can do to actually help students to be ready not only for high school, for college or university, but be prepared for your success in the workforce. Thank you so much, Mr. Narayanan. It was a pleasure to have you on this podcast. Thank you once again for your time. And yes, thank you to all the listeners for listening to this podcast. And you can just show some love and support by sharing your comments, by sharing your reviews in the comment section below. And see you next week. Till that time, we get to meet another educational leader. Thank you so much.